The kid was maybe 16, eyes wide, lungs failing, trapped between flames and fear. I grabbed his arm and pulled hard. We were seconds from losing him. By the time we got everyone out and the fire was contained, I was running on fumes, but adrenaline keeps you upright until it doesn't. I got home just after midnight, boots dragging, every muscle burned out. I just wanted Lena, a shower, and maybe 5 minutes where I didn't feel like the world was on fire, literally. My name's Ryan, I'm 33, I live in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I work wildfire rescue with the Forest Service. I unlocked the door, kicked off my boots, and walked in quietly. Our apartment smelled like rosemary and lavender from one of her diffusers. The lights were off, but Lena was still up, sitting cross-legged on the couch, phone lit up in her hands. She looked locked in, like she didn't even notice I was home. I cleared my throat. "Hey!" She jumped like I'd fired a gun. Her eyes flew to mine, then back to her phone. She clicked the screen off fast. "Jesus, Ryan, you scared me. Sorry, long night. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from." I leaned in for a kiss. She gave me a quick one, distracted. I pointed toward the bathroom. "I'm gonna scrub off the fire smell." "You okay?" She nodded, not really looking at me. "Yeah, just texting Aunt Carla. She's freaking out about the table centerpieces again." I tried to chuckle, but my body was toast. The water in the shower hit me like a slap. Hate, stinging, exactly what I needed. I leaned my head against the tile and let it run. The hikers' faces wouldn't leave me, especially the kid. The way he looked at me, like I was his last chance. When I came out in sweats, Lena was still glued to her phone, eyes darting. She clicked it off again when I stepped into the room. I dried my hair and dropped onto the bed next to her. "One of the hikers today looked just like your cousin Drew." Same panicked face. She gave a distracted hum, not even looking up. I stared at her. "You hear me?" "What? Yeah, sorry, I'm just tired." She got up fast, almost too fast, grabbing her phone. "I'm gonna take a bath." Then she disappeared into the bathroom and locked the door behind her. I heard the faucet crank on, but she never set the phone down. I sat on the bed, still damp, chest tight. Something was off, way off, and I was done pretending it was just wedding stress. I didn't sleep. Just laid there on the bed, staring at the bathroom door like it might swing open with answers. It never did. She stayed in there for almost an hour. When she came out, she barely said a word, climbed into bed with her phone clutched tight, and turned away from me. I ended up crashing in the truck after that. Drove out early to the ranger station where my buddy Connor was already nursing his second cup of gas station coffee. He glanced up from a map, squinting in the early light. "You look like trash," he said. "Didn't sleep," I muttered, dropping onto the bench beside him. Connor's been my best friend since we were 13. We did engine crew together back in the day. Both came up through fire rescue. Now he's a forest ranger, still in the mix, but more admin these days. Still honest as hell, no filter. And that morning, I needed the truth more than anything. "I gotta ask you something," I said. He gave me a side eye. "That's serious." I nodded. "It's about Lena." He didn't say anything, just waited. I told him everything, how weird she'd been lately. The phone always in her hand, jumping when I walked in, locking doors when she used to leave them wide open. Then I got to the part about last week, when I woke up at 2 a.m. and caught her texting in the dark. She told me her aunt was panicking about the wedding menu. But I checked the next morning. No missed calls, no texts from anyone but one number I didn't recognize. Just listed as J. Connor leaned back and scratched his jaw. "So, what's your gut say?" I stared at my coffee. It tasted like burnt dirt. "She says it's wedding stress," I muttered. He raised an eyebrow. "That your gut talking or your hope?" I didn't answer. He shook his head. "Look, man, I know it sucks to even say this, but that all sounds shady as hell." "She's not like that," I snapped. "You sure?" He shot back. "You're about to marry this woman. Can't afford to be guessing right now." I clenched my fists under the table. "It's not like I caught her with someone." "Not yet," he said, flat. "But you don't need to see it to feel it. You've been on fire lines, right? Ever see a smoldering log before it bursts? That's what this is. Smoke's already here." I looked at him hard. "You think she's cheating?" He didn't flinch. "I think if you have to ask me that, you already know something's wrong." My chest tightened. I wanted to punch the table. Instead, I shoved my cup aside. "She's not evil," I muttered. "We've had a rough year, yeah, But she's not a bad person. Connor shrugged. Good people screw up. Doesn't make 'em saints. Doesn't make 'em your forever either. I pushed back from the bench, stood up, started pacing. She keeps telling me she's overwhelmed. Her mom's on her about guest lists. The venue's a mess. She hasn't slept right in weeks. Connor stood too, grabbing his hat. Fine. Then talk to her. Tonight. Face to face. Ask her straight, before you drop 30 grand on a wedding that might be built on a lie. I stared at him. What if I'm wrong? Then she'll prove it, and you'll move on. But if you're right, he didn't finish. Didn't need to. We stood in silence for a second. I looked out toward the tree line, the sun creeping higher behind it. Everything felt tight in my chest, like I was strapped in too hard. You gonna do it? He asked. Yeah, I said, jaw set. Tonight. Connor nodded once. Good. Better a hard truth now than a slow death later. I walked out, keys in hand. My boots hit gravel with more purpose than I felt inside. Tonight I'd get answers, one way or the other. By the time I pulled into the driveway, my stomach was a knot. I sat in the truck for a solid 10 minutes, staring at the porch light. It was still on. That was Lena's thing. She never forgot to leave it for me. Inside, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I locked the door behind me and walked straight to the bedroom. She was already in bed, back turned, blanket pulled up to her shoulders. I didn't say anything at first, just stood there, waiting to see if she'd stir. Nothing. Her phone was sticking out from under her pillow, just enough for the corner of the case to show. That alone made my jaw clench. I should have crawled in, should have kissed her goodnight and tried to pretend I wasn't planning to ask her if she was lying to my face. But I couldn't do it. I backed out of the room and shut the door soft behind me. The couch cushions were thin. My back would hate me for it in the morning. I told myself it was to let her sleep. Truth. I didn't want to sleep next to someone I didn't trust. I stared at the ceiling fan for hours, the blade slicing air in slow, rhythmic lies. At some point, I passed out. By morning, I smelled coffee brewing. I walked into the kitchen and she was at the counter, barefoot in a hoodie, acting like it was just another Wednesday. You sleep out there? She asked, not turning around. Yeah. She didn't say anything else, just kept stirring her mug. I leaned on the doorframe. Can we talk? She glanced at me, tight-lipped. Sure. I stepped closer. Who were you texting the other night? She froze for a half second, just enough. I told you, she said. My aunt. Carla didn't message you, I checked. That number? Ja. Who is that? She spun around. Wait, you're checking my phone now. No, I saw the notification. I didn't touch your phone. Still, you're watching me, keeping tabs. Lena, come on. I'm not stupid. You've been lying. Her eyes flared. Wow. Okay. So, I'm the villain now because I'm overwhelmed and trying to keep up with 50 people demanding wedding details. I folded my arms. Then say that. Don't make up stories. She shook her head, bitter laugh under her breath. You really think I'm out here sneaking around? I think you're hiding something, and I think you're too smart to think I wouldn't notice. She went quiet, looked down at her cup. It's just been a lot. That's not an answer. She snapped, maybe I'm not in the mood to get interrogated first thing in the morning. I didn't say anything, neither did she. The silence felt louder than the fight. She grabbed her purse off the hook. I'm late. I watched her walk toward the door, and that's when I saw it, her wrist, bare. The pocket watch wasn't there. I gave her that watch when I proposed, my grandfather's. She wore it every day since, until now. The door slammed behind her. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the empty hook on the wall where she used to hang her keys, her bag, and that damn watch. And for the first time, it really hit me. Something had cracked. My phone buzzed just after lunch. I was in the garage messing with a busted chainsaw chain when the screen lit up. Lena. Dinner tonight. 7. At Luna's. Just us. Luna's. Our first date spot. Little Italian place on Birch where we split a bottle of red wine and laughed so loud the waiter had to shush us twice. My stomach flipped. Not in a good way. Still, I texted back, Sure, I'll be there. I didn't tell Connor, didn't want to hear more warnings. I threw on a clean shirt, ran a hand through my hair, and got there early. The hostess walked me to a booth in the back where we used to sit. I picked the side facing the door, needed the advantage. She showed up 5 minutes late, in that green sweater I used to love. hair curled, light makeup. She looked good, like she put thought into it. "Hey," she said. "Hey." We both sat, menus untouched. "I didn't know if you'd come," she said. I shrugged. "You asked." She smiled tight. "Yeah." First, the waitress came. We both ordered water. No wine this time. Not the same mood. Then Lena reached into her purse, pulled out the pocket watch, placed it on the table, face up. I stared at it. "Thought you lost that." "I didn't. Why wasn't it on your wrist?" She sighed. "Because I didn't feel like I deserved to wear it." I waited. She didn't meet my eyes. "I've been seeing someone," she said, low. The floor dropped out from under me. My voice stayed even. "Who?" She swallowed. "Nolan." Nolan, her ex, the guy she dated before me, the guy who bailed when she wanted to move in together. "It's not what you think," she said quick. "It started as just coffee. He messaged me after seeing one of our engagement photos online. I didn't speak. It was just supposed to be a catch-up. But we talked for hours, and it brought up stuff. Old stuff." "Stuff like what?" She shifted in her seat. "How things used to feel. How I used to feel with him. There was passion, Ryan, electricity. I didn't even realize how much I missed that until—" I cut her off. "So what am I? A mortgage with a heartbeat?" She flinched. "No, God, no. I love you. I do." "Then what the hell are we doing here?" I needed to be honest. I leaned back, arms crossed. "You cheat on me and want points for honesty." Her voice cracked. "I didn't sleep with him. But you met him. You talked. You kept it from me. That's not a slip-up, Lena. That's a choice." She blinked fast, like she was holding it in. "I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't expect it to hit me like that. Then let me make it easy." I leaned forward. "Are you choosing him?" She looked like I'd slapped her. Her lips parted, then closed again. "I don't know." There it was. Not no, not even maybe. Just that weak, useless shrug of, "I don't know." I nodded, stood up. "Wait," she said, reaching across the table. Can we just talk more, please?" I shook my head. "You had time to talk. When he reached out. When you went for coffee. When you took off the watch." She looked down at it again, like it might rewind time. "I'm not your backup plan," I said. "If you're not sure about me now, you never were." I walked out before she could answer. Cool night air hit me like a slap, but I kept moving. Didn't look back, didn't slow down. By the time I hit the parking lot, the decision was done. She didn't know who she wanted, so I chose for both of us. The second I got in my truck, I pulled over and called the venue. "Yeah," I said, voice tight. "This is Ryan Carter. I'm canceling the October 12th wedding." There was a pause, then a polite, "I'm sorry to hear that, sir." "Can I ask why?" "You can put it under bride found her way back to her ex." That should cover it. I didn't wait for her fake sympathy. Hung up, drove straight home, packed a duffel bag, grabbed the dog's leash, he looked confused as hell, and left. Connor didn't ask questions when I showed up at his place in Mountain Air with my truck full of gear and my face carved out of stone. "Guest room's yours," he said. "Beer's in the fridge. You want to punch something? The shed wall's soft." First thing next morning, I hit the list. Caterer, florist, DJ photographer canceled, 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 canceled. I boxed up every gift, returned what I could, donated the rest. The ring sat on Connor's kitchen counter for 2 days before I finally shoved it in a drawer. Then Maya called, Lena's best friend. She came in hot. "What the hell, Ryan? Lena's a mess. You call everything off and ghost her." I didn't even flinch. "She told you why. She said you just walked out. She'd leave out the part where she was meeting her ex behind my back." Silence. "She say how she didn't know if she still wanted to marry me." More silence. "Yeah," I said. "Thought so." Her tone changed, softer now. "I didn't know any of that. Now you do." She let out a sigh. "I'm sorry. For real. If you need anything, let me know." I hung up without answering. 3 days later, Lena showed up at Connor's. I saw her car before she knocked. She stood on the porch, eyes rimmed red, holding a small box. "Can we talk?" she said. "No," I answered, stepping outside and shutting the door behind me. "I don't want to rehash it. You made your choice. I made mine." She swallowed. "You didn't give me a chance to explain. You explained everything the second you said you didn't know." "I'm sorry. I believe you," I said. But it doesn't fix it. She held the box out. Just some of your stuff. I didn't take it. Leave it. Come by this weekend when I'm not here. Grab your things. Leave the key on the counter. Her lip trembled. Ryan? No. She hesitated, then turned, got in her car, and left. I stood there on the porch until her taillights disappeared. That night, I sat in the guest room with a bottle of whiskey and my dog curled at my feet. No TV, no music, just the sound of the wind outside and my own goddamn heartbeat in my ears. I kept it together until I picked up the old pocket watch from the nightstand. I turned it over in my hands like it might say something. I gave this to her. It meant something. I felt it start to crack open in my chest. My throat closed up. Shoulders shook. And I lost it. Not loud, not screaming. Just that ugly silent kind of crying that rips right through your ribs. I buried my face in my hands and stayed like that for a long time. Didn't want comfort. Didn't want anyone to see it. I just needed to break. So I did. Alone. Next morning, I didn't talk about what happened. Just rolled out of bed, pulled on my boots, and drove straight to the watch station. I didn't want space. I wanted noise. Radios crackling, wind slicing through tower beams, fire reports coming in faster than we could read them. I took every shift nobody wanted, graveyard rotations, the lookouts with busted AC, the ridge trails that tore up boots. Didn't matter. The silence was worse than the heat. 1 week in, I blew through a hazard zone without waiting for clearance. Just charged in solo with a shovel and a pump pack like I had something to prove. I thought I had it handled. I didn't. Crew lead pulled me back hard and chewed my ass out right there in the dirt. Later that night, my boss called me into the office. "You're off the roster for 2 weeks," she said. I blinked. "Wait, what?" "You're cooked, Ryan. You're making mistakes, and I don't have time to bury another one of my guys. Clock out and don't come back until you've got your head straight." I stood there frozen. She didn't budge, so I left. Connor found out before I told him. He just showed up at the station the next morning in the cargo pants, a cooler in his arms. "Pack a bag," he said. "You're coming with me." "Where?" "Cabin, North Rim, no cell service, no excuses." I didn't fight him. I was too damn tired. The cabin was beat to hell. Wood frame, old stone chimney, creaky porch. No power, no water pressure. But it was quiet in a way I hadn't felt in weeks. We chopped wood, dragged brush, cleaned fish, cracked beers by the fire. Didn't talk much. Second night, I said something about how maybe I'd just messed the whole thing up. Connor didn't answer, just passed me another beer. But the third night, after the sun dipped and the fire spit sparks into the sky, he finally spoke. "She didn't leave because of you." I glanced over, but he wasn't looking at me, just poking at the fire. "She left because she couldn't face real commitment. You were the finish line. She got there and panicked." My throat tightened. "Doesn't make it easier." "No, but it means you can stop blaming yourself." He let that hang. I let it settle, because deep down, I knew he was right. I didn't fail. I just gave everything to someone who wasn't ready to receive it. And that wasn't on me. We got back into town late Sunday. I dropped my bag at Connor's and figured I'd grab supplies before heading back to the station. Ace Hardware was quiet. Midday lull, mostly older folks stocking up on bird seed and paint rollers. I grabbed a jug of lamp oil and some screws and headed to the checkout. Then I heard it, behind me, too damn close. Ryan. I didn't turn around right away. My grip tightened on the handle of the basket. "Hey," he said again, stepping into view. Nolan, khaki pants, fitted t-shirt, fake casual energy like he hadn't detonated the life I was supposed to be building. He rubbed the back of his neck. "I figured we might run into each other eventually." "Guess today's your lucky day," I muttered. He gave a weak smile. "I just want to say, I didn't mean for things to go down like that. It just happened." It just happened. I looked him square in the eye. She was engaged, to me. I know, I didn't reach out to cause problems. But you didn't back off either. I stepped closer. You didn't stop. He held his hands up a little. She made her own choices. I didn't force her. That made something snap in me. Don't try to spin this like you're innocent. You showed up, stirred the pot, and now you're acting like it was out of your hands. You want a pat on the back for not dragging it out longer. He opened his mouth like he had some noble bullshit loaded up. I didn't give him the chance. "Stay away from me," I said, And if you ever see me again, keep walking. I dropped the basket at the counter and walked out without the damn lamp oil. The rest of the day was fog. My thoughts kept circling the drain. I wasn't even mad at Nolan anymore. Not really. It was what he represented. The part of me that hadn't been enough. The part Lena couldn't love fully. Maybe he hadn't taken her. Maybe she'd been halfway gone before he showed up. And maybe I was the last to know. That night, I crashed on Connor's couch again, wide awake at 2 a.m., feeling like a ghost in my own life. The next morning back at the station, I was useless. I stared at logs and dispatch updates and couldn't read a word of it. That's when Dom, new guy, maybe mid-20s, sharp mouth, always cracking jokes, walked in with 2 coffees and tossed one at me. "Drink that before your brain leaks out of your ears," he said. I didn't respond. He sat on the bench across from me and squinted. "You good? Just tired. You've been just tired since the day I met you." I gave him a look. "You always this nosy. Only when people look like they got run over by a truck full of feelings." He sipped. "Let me guess. A woman, a bad ending, something you didn't deserve." I didn't answer, didn't need to. Then he said something that stopped me cold. "People who question your value don't deserve front row seats in your life." He stood up and walked out like he hadn't just cracked me open with a sentence. That night, I didn't sleep on the couch. I went into the guest room, pulled the blanket up, let the dog hop in. Then I closed my eyes and slept, in my own bed, for the first time in a long time. I was splitting wood in the backyard, shirt soaked through, dog barking at nothing, when I heard the tires crunch on gravel. Didn't even need to look. I knew that car. She stepped out slow, like her legs might give out. Sunglasses on, hair pulled back, some wrap thing in her arms like a baby. Lena. I dropped the axe and wiped my hands on my jeans. She walked up without saying anything, stopped 6 feet away. I waited. "I shouldn't be here," she said. I nodded. "You're right." She took off her sunglasses, eyes bloodshot. "It's over with Nolan. He dumped me. Not even a flinch from me. I just stared at her. She kept going. I didn't come to cry about him. I came because I made a mistake, Ryan, the biggest one of my life." I crossed my arms. She stepped closer. "You didn't deserve any of that. You were good to me, loyal, and I was scared and selfish, and I ruined it." "You did." She blinked, lips parting. "I thought you'd yell," she said. "No point." She looked down at the thing in her arms. It was wrapped in brown paper with string around it. "I kept thinking if I could just talk to you, if I could just explain." "You explained enough when you left." Her voice cracked. "I want another shot. Please." "No." She swallowed hard. "Please, Ryan. I know I screwed up. I know I don't deserve it, but I still love you." I didn't say a word. I just stood there, letting her feel the silence. She reached out, shoved the wrapped gift toward me. I didn't take it. "Just keep it or don't. Whatever." I watched her walk back to the car. She hesitated at the door, like maybe she thought I'd stop her. I didn't. She got in and drove away. I stood there until the dust settled. Then I picked up the wrap box, turned it over in my hands once, and set it down by the porch door. When I stepped back inside, Amy was already sitting on the couch, legs crossed, hair still damp from her shower. She glanced up from the beer she was nursing and raised an eyebrow. "Pop in." "Yeah?" "She crying?" "Yeah." She didn't ask anything else, just reached into the cooler by her feet and tossed me a cold one. I caught it, popped the top, and sank onto the couch beside her. We didn't talk, didn't need to. The next week, I saw her at the coffee shop. She wasn't even subtle, just sat 2 tables over, staring at me like we were still unfinished. Then it was the grocery store. I caught her in the frozen aisle pretending to read the back of a bag of peas. Amy noticed. She didn't say much, just took my hand and led me to checkout. But the fundraiser was different. That one hit hard. It was for the Wildlands First Responders Fund. Big event, open bar, half the station showed up. Amy and I were manning the raffle table, laughing with some of the rookies. Then I heard the voice behind me. "Of course you'd be here with her." I turned, and there she was, Lena, hair a mess, makeup smudged, glass of white wine in her hand that was way too full for that hour. Amy stiffened beside me. I stepped forward. "You need to leave." She laughed bitter and loud. "Oh, I'm sorry. Am I not allowed to support the station I planned a whole wedding around?" People were already watching. I kept my voice low. Lena, you're drunk. Go home. She stepped in close and grabbed my arm tight. No, you don't get to erase me like that. You don't get to replace me and pretend I was nothing. Connor appeared out of nowhere. Lena, let go of his arm. She ignored him. I loved you, she hissed. Still do. The chief came over fast and quiet. Let's take a walk, he said calmly, like he was handling a wild animal on a leash. Connor eased between us, peeled her off my arm. Lena's lip curled. She's not better than me. Amy didn't move, just stood there steady as stone. Lena looked at her, then at me, one last time, before the chief and Connor led her toward the exit. Everyone pretended to go back to their drinks, but I could feel the eyes on us. I leaned over to Amy. You okay? She nodded. You. Getting there. People talked for a few days. A couple station wives whispered at the market. Some of the rookies tried to joke about it, but I shut that down fast. Then, like all gossip does, it faded. Weeks passed. Connor told me Lena checked herself into a program in Phoenix, got sober, moved in with her sister out of state. He said it like he expected a reaction. I just nodded. Good for her. That was it. Amy and I never made some big declaration. We didn't need it. We hiked together, cooked late dinners, slept in on Sundays. She learned how to drive my stick shift. I learned how she liked her eggs. It was quiet. No games, no second guessing. I'd take real over-passionate chaos any day. And this, whatever it was becoming, it felt real. My birthday landed on a Saturday that year, and Amy insisted we throw something small. Just a few people. Beer, burgers, nothing fancy. We had the grill going, music playing low, and folding chairs scattered in the yard. I was laughing at something Dom said when I saw the car pull up. Silver sedan, Arizona plates. I knew it before she even stepped out. Lena. She walked up slow, hugging something wrapped in tissue paper against her chest. She looked better, clean, steady, but her eyes were already glassy the second they landed on Amy. Amy noticed too. She didn't move, just stayed calm beside me, like always. Lena stopped a few feet from the porch. Can we talk? I hesitated, then nodded. 2 minutes. We stepped around the side of the house, just out of view. She looked up at me, jaw tight. I thought I could do this without crying. You're here, might as well say it. I still love you, she whispered. I stayed quiet. She held out the gift. This is all I have left to give. I don't expect anything. I needed to see you again, on your birthday, just once. I looked at her, really looked. You're not a villain, Lena, I said. But I'm not your backup plan. Her shoulders sagged. If Nolan had stayed, I said, you wouldn't be standing here. She didn't argue, just nodded, slow. You're right. That was all I needed. I took the gift, gave a polite nod, and turned back toward the house. She didn't follow. She got in her car, shut the door, and drove off. No scene, no tears, just gone. Later that night, after everyone left, I finally opened the box. It was a photo book. Our whole relationship. First hike, first trip, the night we got engaged. She captioned every picture with notes like she was narrating a eulogy. I stared at it for a few minutes. Then, I put it back in the box, carried it to the hall closet, and shoved it all the way to the back behind a stack of moving blankets. That life was over. I climbed into bed. Amy was already there, half asleep. One arm flopped across the pillow. She rolled over and pulled close the second I lay down. Didn't ask a thing, didn't need to. I wrapped my arm around her, exhaled, and closed my eyes. This was my life now, and I was finally good with that.